Okay, it's Sunday, January 28th. Much better weather than my past videos. Sun's out. It's supposed to get up to 52. I think it's going to get warmer. It already feels like that. It's like 12, middle of the day. As you can see, I started everything up, poured it outside, which makes it nice so I can actually do what I want to do. I got the power stroke get up to actual temperature. And we do have something else going on around here before I get around to... This guy's been trying to sell this property. Hopefully he's given up on selling it to developers because it's actually landlocked by my property and my mother's property. I'm thinking, I've seen some people looking at it a while back, but I think that white car, if you can see it through the window of my truck, I think that was out here last week, and it looked like a young couple was looking at it. So I'm hoping they're trying to sell to residents now. Hopefully they'll be good neighbors if that's what's going on. But I think his property might be sold. I think it's the same people. Not sure. But what I'm going to do today, before I pull the engine out of the Fairlane, I'm going to start taking stuff apart today. I probably won't film none of that. But I want to run a compression check on it before I tear it apart any farther. And I want to try this cylinder, which is the #1 cylinder. I'm going to try it several different ways. I've never done a lot of compression checks. I've got a tester right here. It's pretty much easy check, but some people seem to be okay with checking them cold. Others say to check them with all the plugs out. Others say to warm your engine up. As you can see, I'm not going to warm it up much because I already took the radiator out, kind of got ahead of myself doing that. I would like to have gotten it up to operating temperature and see if that makes a difference. But I'm going to check it cold with all the plugs in but the #1 cylinder. And then I'm going to start it up, get a little heat in it, but not let it run long enough to hurt anything, of course, with no coolant in it. And we'll see if it makes a difference. Then I'm going to check all the cylinders, take all the plugs out. We'll see how that works out. And that way we'll know if they all test equal. Hopefully I won't have to disturb the rings, provided that the hone marks still look good in the cylinders, which I bet they do. Basically, the main reason I want to pull this thing out is to check those bearings, because it is a stroker engine. It's been together since '09. It's a good idea to stay on top of them bearings on something you run this hard. So we'll get you on the tripod here, and we'll run the first compression check. Okay, the engine's still cold, of course. I did not take all the plugs out because I don't want to take them all out and put them back in twice. So we're going to run this first cold check on this #1 cylinder with the plugs in it. And what I'll do is I'll warm it up, put this one spark plug back in, of course. I will warm it up and see if it makes a difference. Then after that, when I check the rest of them, I'm just going to pull them all out. We'll see if that makes a difference on this one again. Okay, that maxed out at about 190. We got some bleed down there, but a bleed down check is supposed to be made with the piston at top dead center. This one most likely is not. As you see, it's bleeding down. I'll say more like 185, which is pretty good. 185 to 190, and we'll see if they're all equal. If they're all like that, that means hopefully we won't have to disturb any rings, which means we'll be spending less money. Unless, of course, my wrist pins feel sloppy. So let me warm it up. We'll see. So I got my solenoid jumped with my switch. Try to make sure, double check, make sure it's in park. It's in neutral, but park is better. Came unhooked. Oh, get off. So close to this point. Let it warm up a few minutes. Like I said, don't run it too long with no water running through it. Okay, in case you was wondering, here's how all this goes in for those of you who have never done a compression check before. Here's the hose. This is in, screws into the spark plug. You got two different size threads, one for small plugs, one for the larger plug. There's a rubber O-ring that seals it up. My upper O-ring is broken and I need to replace, but the good thing is this one takes the small spark plug, so I don't need that seal for this time around, but I do need to find me a new rubber seal in case I check another engine one day that has bigger plugs. It's kind of hard to get this thing lined up. Well, it takes threads with that stiff hose on there. Cooler weather doesn't help. If this is a 90-degree day, it would probably be a lot more easier to manage. But at least it's not 3, right? Like it has been. Okay, is this thing going to screw in or not? Oh, I guess each and every one of these is going to give me this kind of a headache. Got to be a better way to do this. Just hard to get it started straight with that hose on it. There it goes. Finally got it. Thought I was going to have to pause the camera. And this here is just a coupler like you would have on your regular air hose. And we'll take our switch, which I rigged up to jump start the solenoid. Now let's see if we get a different reading warm. Actually a little less. And guess what? It's holding pressure now. Maybe I got lucky and the cylinder's at top dead center. Actually it's not, because I don't see the timing mark. So there's the difference. You started up warm, I got a little bit less pressure because I was getting almost 190, but it's holding. And it's holding quite well. So that means it's not leaking down. That's good. So a little bit of heat helps that. There's something we learned there. So now I'm going to check the rest of them. And we'll see how they check. Hopefully it'll stay warm enough to get accurate readings for all of them. We'll take all the plugs out this time. Cylinder number 1 again with no spark plug. Still got some heat in the engine. I'm going to see if I lost any. Better get this away. And let's see. 190 that time. And holding. Okay. Looking good now. We'll check number 2. Number 2. Very good, holding. Good sign, means we won't have to spend any money. But like I said, if I find slop in the wrist pins, that means I'll be pulling these pistons out, and I would re-ring it anyway. But I bet I won't. I hope I won't. Let's see how quick I can put this in number 3. It's starting easy now. Just a little bit of heat from the engine makes this rubber hose a little more flexible and easier to work with. So at least I won't have to shut off the camera, so you don't have to see me fighting that stiff rubber hose. Okay, here's number 3. Can you see that? No, you can't. Now you can. $190, and it's holding. I don't know how long you expect it to hold, but it's not budging. Nice. Honestly, I could get. I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping I can get away with just a fresh set of bearings. Probably doesn't need that, but it's kind of a precaution thing, because if you let them wear down too much and you just keep running it and running it, you can risk trashing the motor. And probably something else I will replace if I don't have to do wrist pins or rings is the roller lifters. This is a solid roller cam motor. Roller lifters are great because it's less friction, but there is a risk under these high pressure springs of those needle bearings, and I'll show you the lifters whenever I take this engine apart. It won't be in this video. Let's see, let's move the camera here. Alright, number 4. But if the needle bearings fail, you can wipe a lobe off a cam, and I don't want to lose this cam. This is a Reed cam. They went out of business, and it's a good grind, and really for what this car is, it makes it run pretty darn good. I'll talk more about that when I'm disassembling the engine. $190. This side's healthy. Accidentally bumped that. Now we'll do the other side. Number 5. $190, looking good. Not bleeding down. At least if there's any bleed down at all, I can't see it. So I'd say that's pretty darn healthy. See if I can do this quick enough without having to pause the camera. The back one is, I don't even know if I can get this screwed into the back one because the steering column is right in front of the spark plug. It's not easy to get that. Actually, you can't even get that plug out with a ratchet. You have to put the socket on it and put a wrench on the socket, an open-end wrench. At least we're getting the hang of, like I said, once this hose warmed up from being next to this warm engine, it's a lot easier to line up those threads for the spark plug hole. Where's that? Here is number 6. See that? Actually almost 195 on that one. You would be surprised that this is a flat top engine. Actually, I was going to leave that surprise for when I pull the heads, but I'm going to go ahead and let you know this is a flat top engine. So, and I got a negative comment about this old car, and I'm also going to talk about that later. Not right now. We're doing a compression check right now. But while I'm tearing the engine apart, and when I tear the engine apart, it's going to prove this guy wrong. You won't see the comment. I deleted it and blocked him. He probably wasn't as nasty as you think he was, but it was a rude comment. It was an insult by a guy who thinks he knows the standard on how things should be. And I'll get a little bit more into that later. Don't worry, I don't let people like that bother me. He's just some guy who probably doesn't have anything and criticizes everyone else's stuff. But, okay, here is number 7. $195 on that one. I don't know why they're a little stronger, but doesn't matter. I don't think that's that much of a difference. Yeah, $195. I may check the number 1 again after I'm done with 8, just to see if I can get $195 out of it. Maybe it's because of a temperature difference. I don't know. Well, you know, that makes sense. If you remember, I got my highest reading when I did the cold check. So I'd be willing to bet that it's cooled down enough, even though the engine is still warm. I mean, I can touch the headers and everything. It's not hot. But it's probably lost 20, 30 degrees since my first check. So maybe. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to be able to get this hose in the last one. Screwing it in might be a little harder to do. And can you see probably all you can see is the back of my head. Bear with me, I need to get this one screwed in. I'd be willing to bet that's why I'm all of a sudden getting 5 pounds higher temperature change inside the cylinders. Because all the plugs are out now and it's going to lose temperature kind of quick. And this last one, just because it's so hard to line up, it's going to be hard. I'm going to lose a little more temperature trying to get this started. Do have the right end in, don't I? Believe me, that's possible for me to do. Okay, come on. Okay, I'm going to pause the camera before I start saying bad words. Got it in. Wasn't too bad. I wasn't away for probably not even a full minute. Okay, let's see what number 8 has to say to me. You see it? Okay, 190, a little bit over 190. So, I don't know if a variation from of 5 pounds is enough to worry about or not. So I'm going to recheck number 1 just out of curiosity because it has lost temperature. I did. Yeah, my seal still looks good. Alright, I'm not even going to shut off the camera. We'll just move it. I don't know, I put it on this paint. Hey, this is I painted this car in '92 and it was very cheap paint. The only reason it's so shiny is because it stays indoors unless it's racing. Okay, now this one's going to be stubborn. There it goes. I don't have the screen facing me. I don't know how well you can see what I'm doing. There we go. I guess you can see okay. Just out of curiosity, you see what number 1 says. $195. If I remember right, I think I got 190. Okay. So all of them were 190 right on it. That's not even bleeding down. That's amazing. No, actually that is 190. No, that's 190. It's not bleeding down. All of them were 190 except for number 6 and 7. They were 195. So I want to see what the acceptable difference is. I'm pretty sure that is acceptable. Let me do a little research and I'll be right back. Okay, I was away for about, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little longer. As you can see, we're still holding 190. So that's good. And from a couple experts on YouTube, Scotty Kimball is one guy who is really helpful on just basic mechanics. He probably knows some race stuff too, but he mostly just does everyday type driver car repairs, if it makes any sense. But he was saying anything more than 15% you got to worry. So my lowest cylinder was 190. My highest cylinder, if my memory is right, I should have wrote them all down, but my memory is telling me my lowest cylinder was 190 and my highest were 195. Probably if I checked them all again, maybe I'd get 195 out of them. But that's like less than 2% or 3%. So we're well within that. So we're good there. And like I said, if the wrist pins feel okay, I'm going to try to check the play in them without actually taking them out. When I get this thing out of the car and disassemble it, get the heads off, we'll look at the hone marks and flip it upside down and just see how the wrist pins feel. Just go by feel. Maybe there's a way I can put an indicator on them, check, but I got a feeling they're good. We got good quality pistons in this thing. This thing has Eagle steel rods in it. And I'll get into the history of what I used to do and compared to what I have now and everything. But this engine should last me a good long time. But we are going to pull it out, check them bearings, and we're also going to be going through the transmission in later videos. We're just going to check everything out in it. And it does have a leak. If you remember, I showed underneath the car I was running so you could hear it out of the headers, and some of you guys love that. You see that transmission fluid? Now, it does not leak like that when it's running. It only does it after you warm it up and shut it off. And it's out of the front seal, I'm sure. I'm going to see if I can do something about that. It's done it before, and I've had it apart. And honestly, I put new seals in it, could not find anything wrong. There are no grooves wore in the hub or anything. But we're going to double check, do some research, and see if I can't fix that goofy leak. I mean, it doesn't hurt a thing. I just don't like it. Because while you're racing and the engine's warmed up, it does not leak. So I'm going to clean off my table and start taking some stuff off today. I don't know how far along I'll get. Probably won't get the engine out today. Okay, still Sunday. It is now 4:30 in the afternoon. Been a gorgeous day. And let's see, I started doing a compression test at around 11:30 or 12. So and everything is unbolted and ready to pull out. I'm not going to pull it out tonight, but just kind of go show you how easy actually this car is to work on. There's a few things that'll make you scrape your knuckles and stuff. The headers are tight. There's all my headers. They are 4-piece on each side. Yeah, the collector is separate from all 4. So actually it's 5-piece. The collectors are separate from all 4 pipes on both sides. Got 2 tabs, one here and one diagonal from it that holds it together. Just a little 7/16 bolt nut goes in there. I use stainless so they don't rust, but that makes it easier to get these headers off. Yeah, starter's out, bell housings unbolted, flywheel shield is out of the way. Excuse me, and it's just kind of hanging loose there. It goes up. It's held on by the bell housing bolts. And I just want to show you the beauty of working on a race car compared to an everyday driver or a street car that hasn't been altered. I got a removable tunnel. Here it is here. Sorry about that. And it's just 3 7/16 bolts that hold it on each side. See the flange is right there. It's like it on both sides. I've got nuts that are welded to a piece of angle iron right in here. Or actually, was it aluminum angle? It's been so long since I had this car apart. Actually, that's aluminum angle, and the nuts are JB welded on the bottom, and it works just fine. That way I can just run a bolt through the top, and the nut's always there. You don't have to get another person under there to hold it still. But it's so basically in about 3 hours or less, everything was unbolted and ready to go. And if I really wanted to, I could get everything out and have this out tonight. But I'm going to wait and get it out through the week. Probably shoot a short video of actually pulling the engine out. I will leave the transmission in it for now because it's just easier for me to do that because this garage doesn't have a lot of height or room. And what I can do is jack it up real high and the transmission will come out from underneath it. When no engine's in it, that's the easier way for me to do it. And so just letting you know the progress I made today. Everything's unbolted. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully by next weekend we'll start the teardown of the engine, maybe sooner. And then after a part next weekend, I'll know what all I need to order. Whether or not I need to go to a machine shop, I don't think I'm going to. That compression test looked really good to me. As long as the crank looks good, which I'm sure it will. And this engine also has a stock oil pump. I don't run a high pressure or high volume because I don't have the oil pan for it. That is a 460 Ford truck oil pan. It's the stock oil pan. It holds, I think, 7. Can't remember exactly. I think it's 7 quarts. But it's been so long since I had this car apart that there's a lot of things I've forgotten about it. I haven't pulled the engine out of it since 07. So anyway, I'm just yapping, just letting you know what I got done. Here's what it all looks like apart and ready to pull out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And for those of you who are curious as to what's inside this engine, there's some good, interesting videos for you ahead to come.